Dementia units are pitched by staff to dementia residents as, this is your home now, this is where you live and we are your family. Those dementia residents that are settled enough to be able to accept this do a lot better than others that don't, because as a family they consider, well, yes, we have meals together, we sit in the lounge together, we watch TV together, we do everything together. So, okay, it's a family. We're all brothers and sisters living here together 24/7. So in this way, there's a lot more harmonious relations if you can consider that the person that you're sitting next to is one of your family rather than a complete stranger. But if you're not able to accept this warm concept of the dementia unit being your family, if you resist that and consider everyone to be strangers now and strangers always will be, it's difficult because you're isolated and you're not able then to experience the warmth that comes from close friendship, close family type connections. I mean, dementia residents, of course, still know they have family outside, love to see their family and always enjoy being with the family. But by far the majority of the time is with these other people now, where they're going to be living, lifelong. So it's important that they can feel comfortable and relaxed with them. And even with all the distractions and disturbances and foibles, weaknesses and strengths and all the, eccentricities, especially that dementia residents have, many of them, it makes for an entertaining, interesting place. And dementia residents do try and help each other. When there's that warmth of heart and warmth of expression and that camaraderie that goes with living together, as they do try to help each other. And one way that they make a big effort with trying to help is with finding the room, the ever-present problem of finding the room for toileting and going to bed at night, etc. It's always hard, well, not for everybody actually, but many dementia residents do find it difficult to find their room, and it can be stressful, and it varies from day to day. You might have a group of 10 people on any given day, half of them find it difficult to find their room. If you ask them who can find their room, 3 may say they can't find it, 3 may say I can find it and it's not a problem, and the other 3 don't know they're living there. So, and then one extra one's not sure anyway. So it's always a mix. And then one day a person may easily be able to find their room and the next day they can't at all. So it's a mixed recipe. But if you've got a neighbour, if you've got a friend who is your next door neighbour, she actually does live next to you in the bedroom next door and she knows her way, she will be able to help you find your room, and that's a great respite. Because it's a big badge of honour, 2 badges of honour. One is being able to remember where your room is, and the other is being able to remember the names of your children. If you can remember both of those 2 things, you can function well in a dementia unit. But if you can't remember the names of your children, then it's good if the children come in and introduce themselves to mum, say their name and who they are with eye contact, because that way, even though mum can't remember your name, she will recognise your face, expression and tone of voice and loving manner. Of course, she will remember you in terms of recognition, but not necessarily with name. And that's the same in a dementia unit. Few dementia residents remember each other's name. They recognise each other, certainly up the corridor, at the dining table, but names, probably 3 or 4 out of 30 would remember other dementia residents' names. There was one dementia resident and her daughter actually quizzed her on the name of her friend at the dining table. She'd help her, she'd teach her, train her up in remembering the name of her good friend at the unit. And this dementia resident did remember her friend's name in the end. And I asked her one day, do you remember the fashion show that we've just had here at the unit? And she said, of course I do. How could I forget that? I thought, oh, that's good. She said, maybe if it was a long time ago, I might forget, but I do remember that. And I do remember my friend's name and my children's names. So she was pretty astute. But most dementia residents don't remember the other dementia residents' names, and they don't make the effort to either because they can't really be bothered half the time, except there was one lady who was very astute, and she was the prior school teacher. She did remember everyone's names because she made it an absolute mission, a daily mission, to record and recall everyone's names, not only at the beginning of the day, but often hourly throughout the day, much to the consternation, disconcerted residents being repeatedly having to say their names to her. But anyway, she was the exception by far. So really, in essence, most dementia residents don't remember other dementia residents' names. A handful will remember 1 or 2 names, and the absolute exception will remember 5, 6 names. But recognition is high, being able to recognise the other dementia residents, and, you know, as a result of that, they liaise with them and connect with them as family, you know, with a warm expression and a lovely tone. Occasionally they might remember, say, John, for example. That's a very common name. So if John is one of the dementia residents who's having a really hard time with walking and falling and problems, then chances are the dementia residents might remember him because he's having problems and they want to help him. And he's always about, anyway, walking around the walkers and the feet and the ladies, and he's a well-known personality. So they may remember his name, but in terms of all the other dementia residents milling around, chances are no. So this is life in a dementia facility, and family having warm, friendly family feelings, just like brothers and sisters type family feelings. That's how they pitch it. And they do relate to each other like brothers and sisters, especially those that have been there for more than 3 or 4 months. It's the first couple of months that are difficult, but after that it's fine. And with actual family that come in to the facility, if they can join in with the dementia unit and the friends of their family member and include them in as family when they come to visit them as well, that's always a really good idea. So if you're the daughter of your mother who's in a dementia unit and she's got a best friend, it's always nice to include the best friend in with afternoon tea or morning tea, or, you know, whatever event you're having with your mother in the unit. It's nice to include that best friend because that confirms the family feeling that your actual daughter is with you, and then your friend is with you, and you're having a cup of tea, and that's a lovely normal activity as you would do throughout all your life. And the more that you can normalise activities in a dementia unit, the happier off people will be. I mean, in most dementia units, or the ones I've worked at, they're warm, they're comfortable, they're well set up. So as long as all these sort of social, psychological issues are dealt with, so that there's not the distress or the anxiety or the isolation, and the person does feel at ease and at home, then they can have, and they do have, a nice quality of life, which is the whole aim of it for these lovely people that have lived nearly a century, some of them, worked hard for the community to be able to have a nice time at the end of their life. So I've written about all this in these 2 books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both on Amazon, ebook, hardcover, softcover, and my website, pietavalentine.com. So thank you for your interest and your support and your subscriptions, and please pass on these links. Thank you.